Hi everyone, it's Danny. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with a layout for Spiegelmom Scraps. I am their Spotlight Sparkler for the month of January. So this is the first of two layouts I'm doing for them. Very exciting. So I'm using this photo of my son. I have it in black and white because I'm going to use a little bit of color on this layout. The sequin mixes I'm using are this one, Holiday Magic, and Vintage Dowry. So I'm going to use quite a few blue ones out of both of these packs and a few of the pink ones out of Vintage Dowry as well. I'm going to be using the Cocoa Vanilla Studio Happiness collection. I still have quite a bit of this, and I thought it was a good collection to use for this black and white photo because it's very colourful. So I'm taking this background paper. I wanted something pretty plain, but I do like that it's not completely white. It does have some of that pattern around the outside. So I'm taking a couple of different sized dishes here. I have a bowl and a plate, and you can see my reflection in that metal bowl. I apologize. But I'm just drawing a few different sized circles. Just kind of messily. I want them to kind of overlap and not be perfect. You don't have to draw the lines, but I'd like to have a guide when I am sewing. So as you can see, I have my sewing machine here, and I'm just using white thread just to keep stitching round and round and round in these messy circles. I just want quite a bit of texture. So I've pulled my ends through to the back. I don't want any messy ends hanging out the front, and I'm just gluing those down and popping a bit of washi over the top to keep those in place. There we go. Erasing my pencil lines, and I won't make you watch all this, don't worry. But this is just going to give me the base for the wreath design that I'm going for. There you go, you can see all that texture. It's a little bit blown out here with my, my lighting, unfortunately, but you can see it in the close-up. So now I'm going to do some mixed media, of course. I'm using my Gina K Glitz Glitter Gel. Can't stop using this stuff, I love it so much. This is the gold color, and I'm just smushing that through my star stencil. This is a Kaiser Craft stencil, if you're wondering. And I'm just going to do this in 3 places. I'm going to do some either side of my photo, and then sort of on the opposite side of the wreath as well. Just at the top right corner here. I'm just trying to situate my stencil so that I don't ruin that beautiful stenciling I've already done down the bottom there. So just smushing that through the stencil. This is really easy to work with. I really like the formula of this glitter gel. It's a lot of fun to use. It's really pretty and sparkly. Okay, going in with my gold mist. This is a Kaiser Craft one, and I am just sprinkling that all the way around the wreath. I'm trying to keep it tight to that. I mean, it's not really a wreath because there's no leaves or flowers, I suppose, but yeah, I'm calling it a wreath. So now I'm coming in with my Tim Holtz Distress Oxides. I love these things. So I've just smushed some of this colour, which is peacock feathers, down on a bit of a plastic packaging. You have to press quite hard, but they are a wet ink, and the ink is kind of, it can sort of sink to the bottom of the ink pad. So you just press down quite hard and it comes out. Add some water, and there you go, good to go for splatters. And this is such a pretty colour. I love it so much. Now I'm coming in with the same kind of ink, a Distress Oxide, but in chipped sapphire. It's a beautiful deep navy, but it actually dries a fair bit lighter when you add some water to it. So I've added water, and when it dries it won't be quite as dark. It's just a really pretty sort of soft navy colour. Okay, I'm just trimming down my photo. I'm trimming off the white edge and then adding back a white edge, which seems counterintuitive, but the photo editing app I use it didn't print out the photo with the border all the way around, so I just had to trim off the 3 sides. And now I'm adding that back. Okay, I'm going through my paper scraps from this collection. I've got quite a few of these little like kind of scrappy bits left, so I'm trying to use some of those up. So I'm going to add quite a few layers to my photo. I like a lot of interesting layers behind my photos. So especially when I have a smaller photo like this, I feel like it kind of helps draw your eye. So I'm using that light, medium kind of turquoisey blue, and now I'm going in with a white and kind of like again a turquoise spot. These are all from a cut apart sheet, and I really like the soft pink border of that one, so I'm going to add that as a layer. I didn't intend on using a lot of pink, but yeah, it kind of happened, so I went with it. So my ATG ran out just then, of course, the perfect moment. So I'm coming in with this cheap one that I have had for years and I don't like, but it's at hand. So using some of this beautiful paper, it's kind of like a painterly mixed media design. And I like that it had a bit of navy and a bit more of that blue kind of speckled throughout. And once I've added that, I do decide that I need a bit more navy. So I'm going to use this rainbow stripe and just add it in, just a tiny strip of it at the top. I don't want too much because it's a dark color. It can be overwhelming, but I just want it to help my photo sort of stand out from the background there. Now I'm going to start working on some layered embellishments. So I'm just taking, again, paper scraps and using that same stencil to trace some stars onto the back side. And then I'm going to go through with my fussy cutting scissors and cut those out. And unfortunately you don't see me make these on camera, but I literally just cut out a few different sizes and then glue them on top of each other. It's really nothing fancy. This is an easy shape to cut out with scissors. You don't need to do this on your silhouette or use a die cutting machine or anything like that. You could even freehand draw those if you wanted. Okay, I'm coming in with the title, die cut titles from the collection, and I pulled out Smile. And this is a tip for you, once I use a piece out of that pack, I cross it off on the back so that I know which ones are left. That really helps. So I wanted Your Smile. I did think there was a die cut Your in that pack, but I must have used it already. So I am just going to spell it out with these gold foil letters on this label sticker and layer that kind of behind and over my photo a bit. I do have quite a bit of dead space on that photo, so I just want to connect my title to my photo in that space. I had to pop a foam square on the back of that label that's hanging off the photo because my photo is quite raised now that I have all those paper layers behind. I also have to do the same thing with this title, the second half of Smile. So again, just cut my little foam squares into thin strips and popped up those letters. Bit of wet glue behind my photo. That's where it's going to go. It's not going to move, so I'm happy to stick it down. I don't put the glue all the way to the edge in case I want to layer some die cuts or ephemera underneath the edges, but I don't end up adding many. I pop in this label. It's off the sticker sheet, and I'm going to use that to add my date. I'm just using a bit of just plain white cardstock here, an offcut to cut a little strip that I can write my date on. I could have written my date directly on that label, but it has a bit of, it's hard to see on the photo, but it has a bit of kind of watercolor pattern on it, and yeah, I just wanted it on white so it's readable and obvious. And just pop that in with a bit of wet glue. And now I do take this My Happiness tiny word sticker and I spend ages fussing around trying to get it in here at the top, but I end up hating it, so I do move it later. And there you can see my layered star embellishments. They're literally just two different size stars glued one on top of the other. I've put two at the top right and one over at the top left, but they do move, so they're not staying there. I've pulled out some wood veneer stars and then some clear kind of crystal gemmy stars. I'm going with the star theme here, as you can tell. I've pulled out my Distress Oxides again. These are I think they're a hybrid ink. They're pigment and dye ink kind of combined. I'm pretty sure. So they are really opaque. They're lovely to ink up wood veneer. The wood veneer sucks it straight up, and yeah, it's nice and opaque. So I am using that Peacock Feathers, the pink one. I can't remember. Is it Picto Raspberry? Might be Picto Raspberry. I also do 1 inch Chip Sapphire. It turns out far too dark for me. I didn't like it, so I've pulled that off the layout. It was just kind of taking over. So again, just inking up those stars. I do speed through this pretty quickly. Adding some of those little crystal gemmies as well. Still inking up stars. No, I am inking the edges of this one because it was on that kind of white paper. It does have a pattern on it, but it's very white and the star was fading into the background, so I just inked up the edges with that Peacock Feathers. And I inked the back of that Chip Sapphire star with the Peacock Feathers, so I don't waste that. I get that on the layout. I just flipped it over. Add all my gemmies in. So I've just put those in kind of to fill in any awkward spots. Go. Gluing everything down now with a little spot of tacky glue in the center. well, I thought I moved my stars, but I suppose, no, I did. I put that little one just below my photo, that layered star embellishment. So there we go. That's all glued down, so I am pulling out my sequins now. And I'm going to pull out 5 of each to begin with. I like odd numbers on a layout, but I do end up having to pull in more. I use quite a lot of sequins actually on this layout. So out of Holiday Magic, I have these little flat glitter blue ones. They're really, really sparkling pretty. I have some of these lighter blue, just plain sort of large cup sequins, and then I'm pulling out some of these teeny tiny navy blue as well. Okay, groups of 5, and then all I do is just take my wet glue, put a dot in where I think there's a little gap, and just pop my sequin on top. I don't have a sequin picker, I just use my tweezers. I find that works fine for me. I should probably get a sequin picker, but I get along just fine with my tweezers. So yeah, if I'm having trouble, I kind of just dip the tip of my tweezers in a bit of wet glue, and that ends up sticky enough to pick up my sequins with if I can't pick them up just using the tweezing motion. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Just one less tool I have to worry about buying. Okay, these teeny tiny ones are great for all those like really awkward little tiny gaps. And I've decided I need a few more of those, so pull those in. I want some more of these glitter ones as well, so I've just pulled those out. I'm just going to speed through a bit faster now for you. I've also added a crystal star, and I'm going to pop a few sequins down in the bottom left corner of my photo here as well, just to kind of tie that that in with the wreath. I kind of felt like all the glitter was on the background, and my photo kind of looked like it was just hanging there. So I've gone ahead and added a few sequins around my title as well for the same reason. And now I'm coming in with the Vintage Dowry Mix. This has some really pretty, like really soft pale blue sequins, and they're flat backed, so they're really easy to adhere down. They're kind of hard to see on the video, but you'll see them in the close-ups. The last thing I'm going to do is add some enamel dots. I'm taking these little glittery pink ones. I just wanted a little bit more pink. I felt like those inked wood veneer and the pink layered stars were kind of sticking out a little bit amongst all the blue, so I've added those in. And that's the end of my layout. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget to check the description box for the Spiegelmom Scraps blog, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.